What's up? What's happening? I'm Ross. I want to talk about some good news that the Wall Street Journal is putting out about black investors. It turns out nearly 40% of black Americans are investing in the stock markets in 2022. And that's up from about 33% in 2016, 32, 33 percentage in 2016. So a good increase there. Nearly 70% of blacks under 40 said they were investing in the stock market when answering to this survey. So great news there. Although it hasn't been all great, blacks are more likely to use social media and message boards to get education and intelligence on investing. So sometimes that pushes African Americans into riskier investments versus the more tried and true index funds, etc. But let's get into this article. Black investors are the biggest new group of stock buyers. Mobile apps, social media, and word of mouth are reshaping the makeup of the market. Black Americans are the fastest growing group of stock buyers, with young black investors fueling a surge. Nearly 40% of black Americans own stocks in 2022, up from just under a third in 2016, according to the most recent Federal Reserve data. During that same period, the share of white households with stocks grew nearly 2/3, up from 61%. This was all before the stock market's 2023 rally. This growth seems to be driven in part by young investors. Survey suggests they embrace the market in retail investing boom, fueled by mobile apps, commission-free trading, participation in 401ks, crypto, meme stocks, and social media. Researchers said nearly 70% of black respondents under 40 years old were investing, compared with roughly 60% of white investors in the same age group in 2022. So according to this, they're under 40 black investors, blacks were investing at a higher rate than whites. Not more money, just more blacks as a percentage were investing than white investors. At least according to this study, the survey was done by Ariel Investments and Charles Schwab. So Robert L. Pinkney, 21 years old, learned about finance sitting at the lap of his grandfather, who would read newspapers business section to him each morning beginning at the age of 7. When his grandfather died in 2017, Pinkney, then 16, opened an online brokerage account with the money he had saved from his allowance by doing freelance coding for local churches. I just want to stop right here and there's so much packed into that, and give this young man a shout out, first of all. But do you see the power of reading to your kids? Do you see what he did? He started reading the business section to him when he was 7. Now, he couldn't understand the business section at 7, but it didn't matter. Didn't matter. He just read to him every day. He started reading to him, and he made that a habit. He made that culture in their home. And because he made that culture, that young man grew up investing and believing in investing and knowing what investing was about. And it became a generational thing. And now I guarantee that he will teach his kids about investing. So that is an awesome example right there. And then he saved money from his allowance by doing freelance coding for local churches. Like, first of all, he's coding. So he's getting in the right direction with technology and STEM and whatnot. And then he's doing it for his local churches. Like, his grandfather always told him it was his responsibility to provide for his family and leave wealth behind for them after he was gone, right? And yes, absolutely, it's your responsibility to try to leave something behind. And people always say, "Oh, you can't take it with you." No, you can't, but you can leave it here. You can leave it here for your heirs and the people that you leave behind. Pinkney put $22,000 into companies. He saved $22,000 from freelance coding work for local churches and his allowance. Holy cow! This young man is on the ball. 21 years old. So he invested in companies such as BlackRock, Berkshire Hathaway, Progressive, and JP Morgan Chase, all huge, big, successful companies, aiming to invest in entities that share global significance. It was a way of continuing to bond with his grandfather. Pinkney said, "I know that it's something he can see, and my decisions make him very proud." So again, I just want to point out how they entrenched that into their family culture. So that's going to be culture now. So for generations now, after this, the Pinkneys are going to be investors. That's what they're going to be taught. That's how they're going to grow up. They're not going to know any better. Just like this kid, Robert, and he's a grown man now at 21, but when he was a kid, he didn't know any better at 7 when his grandfather was reading him the business. He just read it to him, and that's all he ever knew. So when it was time for him to start investing, it was just natural, right? And that's what it has to be. We have to entrench these cultures into our families. Now a senior at Morehouse College at a historically black institution in Atlanta, Pinkney has continued to invest and now has $75,000. He is graduating debt-free thanks to a full scholarship and hopes to use some of his gains from his investments to help pay off some of his peer student loans, he said. So this kid, from saving money, doing his allowances and doing some coding for his local churches, saves $22,000. He invests it, and now he's got $75,000, and he's a senior in college, graduating debt-free. Like, that is amazing. What an amazing story. So congratulations to this young guy. That is insane. That's great. Good for him. Good for him. And I don't want to read the whole article. I'm trying to keep this video to a decent length, but the article's pointing out again, nearly 3/4 of black investors relied on information from friends, family, and colleagues for investing, compared with 58% of their white investors. More than half of black investors were more likely to use social media groups or message boards as a source for investment information, compared with 1/4 of white investors, the report said. Social media platforms often tout riskier investments rather than state index funds that advisors usually recommend for beginners. So again, it's not all great when you're just learning, and maybe there is some type of pressure to get rich faster, right? You can fall victim to some types of riskier investments, and even flat out, Wall Street Journal doesn't mention it, but even flat out scams. So you always want to do your research and make sure you're investing in a reputable company or reputable stocks or index or whatever you're investing in. You just want to make sure you know what you're doing. Calah Beale, 27-year-old Medicare sales representative in Sacramento, saved $14,000 during the pandemic, in part from government stimulus checks. When some of her friends did well by putting money into GameStop, she decided to put her savings into another meme stock, AMC Entertainment Holdings. I remember the AMC thing. Yeah, it went up for a hot minute, but after her holdings grew by $2,000, she chose to keep her money in the stock. A few weeks later, the stock dropped. She lost $10,000. Gosh. So again, she got pushed into a riskier investment. Not pushed. Her friends were doing well in GameStop. She decided to jump on the bandwagon. Unfortunately for her, she lost most of her $14,000. Now, if she had put that money in an index fund and just left it alone, it would have done quite well. So she didn't do that. At the time, I thought I was making a good financial decision, she said. In hindsight, she said she should have never have put all of her savings into the market. Maybe I should have put in half of my money or like 1/4, she said. She plans to rebuild her savings for taking another stab at investing. So I think one of the things, and again, I don't want to get too deep into it, but she's mistaking speculating for investment. If you're planning on getting that money back, if you're planning on buying something and then selling it within the next, say, 5 years, that's not really investing. That's speculating, right? An investment should be looking at 5 years and beyond. So what she was doing is speculating. And again, this comes from maybe not having a base and a good base education in investing. And I would suggest she read some books and do some YouTube videos on a lot of different types of investing, so she can get a broad depth of what's out there. But I think she was more speculating, and that's part of the problem. If you're trying to get it back too quick, you leave yourself open and vulnerable to risky investments or even scams. Noah Reese, 21, another student at Morehouse College, relied on a combination of YouTube advice and trusted classics such as Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor to teach him how to navigate the stock market during the pandemic. Yeah, so The Intelligent Investor, that's a good book, well known, and I'm not sure what YouTube advice he was getting, but yeah, you got to do your research. You got to read some books that are written by people that are well respected in the industry, and get a good knowledge base before you start investing. Or pay somebody, a certified financial planner, a fee-only certified financial planner, and maybe have them help you come up with a financial plan. I don't know, but you can't just go in there willy-nilly listening to any old person off of social media. That's going to get your money taken or lost some way. He invested in over 50 companies, including Apple, Coca-Cola, since starting 5 years ago at 16. His portfolio has grown so far from 3,000 to 10,000. I did research during quarantine and began investing in companies with durable competitive advantage, Reese said. Exactly. Kudos to this young man. What is he? 16? He sounds very much mature for his age. So, and that's another thing that the what was her name? Calah didn't do. She no diversification. She put all of her money into one stock, right? And when that stock went kaput, she lost all of her money. So hopefully, and I'm glad she's still talking about investing and she's talking about saving up again. But hopefully she does some research and figures out these things. You know, kind of the basic things like diversification, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. The difference between speculating and investing. You know, she should at least know about index funds. So if you don't want to do index funds, you should at least know what you're turning down, right? But I think right now she doesn't know what she doesn't know. So overall, good story. I'm encouraged, right? I think this is probably, you know, maybe the second generation of black people that are starting to make a little bit more money and get a little bit more affluent. So it's only natural that they start taking that money and hopefully invest it more. But we've got to get our education up. We've got to do wise investments, and we've got to think long-term strategies instead of, you know, get rich quick schemes or taking the riskiest of investments, trying to, I don't know, make up for lost time or get wealthier sooner. Overall, this is good news for black people. It's good news for the black community. You know, I'm all about the financial literacy in the black communities. If you made it this far, consider clicking the like button. If you've watched more than one video from me, consider subscribing. I'm Ross. Peace.